Welcome to Listen to Black Women. I'm Shamika Sanders, and beside me are my beautiful co-hosts, Kiara Kelly and Brandy Victorian. Maximize your screen, turn up the volume, because the heat is about to get turned up for this episode of Listen to Black Women.
For Black women, owning our sexuality is often hard due to all these unspoken rules and our own skewed beliefs about sexuality. From the beginning of time, when it comes to Black women's bodies and our sexuality, we've really had no say in a lot of these things. And then you add in religion, which really removes the whole idea of pleasure, which is what sex is for, and replaces it with all types of negativities. So because of this, many Black women simply repress their sexuality. And then you fast forward to present-day celebrities who aren't Black, and they're able to freely express their sexuality. And then you have artists like Rihanna, Cardi B, Beyonce, who are subjected to criticism all the time.
So ladies, what can be done to stop the shaming of sexually liberated Black women? I got it. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me.
That is a good start. I know you're saying that in jest, but a part of it is having the conversations boldly and apologetically and being able to talk about all the different nuances of sexual experience.
You know what I think about? Jada Pinkett Smith recently did an episode on her Red Table Talk, and she had Willow Smith, and she had her mother sitting down with her, and they were discussing sexuality, and Jada was just talking about historically women have been told not to enjoy sex, not to have sex, religion, or for whatever societal reason they tell us, but also it also results in women not experiencing the pleasure that can come along with sex. Why do we police one another's sexuality?
I think women do it to each other as an extension of patriarchy. I think we hear men shaming women and the pick-me's, aka women who perform certain behaviors to comply with men. Mm-hmm. I think the pick-me's will look at other women and be like, well, she's a hoe and I'm not doing that type of hoe behavior, in order to differentiate themselves from the pack. Mm-hmm. And so I really see that type of, judging of other women as just another way that patriarchy can stretch its ugly legs over our lives.
We just saw that with Nicki Minaj and her idea. Yeah, I put it out there, but I don't do it. Why not, though? What's the problem with that? Because you're missing out on some pleasure.
Religion also teaches us that a woman's value is tied to her virginity. So once your virginity is lost, you have no value.
To piggyback off of what you're saying about losing your virginity, I know for me personally, I had to teach myself not to say I lost my virginity, because that depreciates you like a car. I had to change that narrative from losing your virginity to gaining sex, because I think there's a wide range of experiences and ways that you educate yourself about your body and the way that you relate to another person by gaining sex, versus telling women you're going to lose your virginity and depreciate your value as a human being.
I remember I gained sex, and I was always really embracing of my sexuality from a young age, and because of that, people labeled me a hoe. We talked about these celebrities who work so hard to change that narrative. Amber Rose has the slut walk, and people get so jarred by the slut walk. But the actual goal of the slut walk is to
stop calling people sluts
and take the word back and just be like, yeah, whatever. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Women can be, sexually liberated as well. I think that's the thing too. Men just don't feel like women like or talk about sex the way they do.
But then you also don't have to call yourself a hoe just because you have sex, you know, or whatever you're doing. Like, I think that's the problem.
Yeah. Via the Hello Beautiful Twitter timeline, we posed the question of the week. Here are a few of the responses. Crooked Glasses Girl tweeted, if we took the time to worry more about ourselves instead of judging or shaming women for having sex, the term sexually liberated wouldn't even have to exist. Men aren't sexually liberated. Why are we?
Because men's sexuality is never in bondage. I mean, they're always told, so you wild-os, do what you want to do.
Sexpert Tayomi tweeted, actually taking the time to learn what it means to be sexually liberated is a good start. Because for some reason, promiscuity is seen as synonymous for liberation, and it absolutely is not. That is true. Like you were saying, promiscuity doesn't necessarily mean that you're a hoe. Well, let's check out the results of last week's HelloBeautiful.com and MadameNoire.com polls. Where the receipts at?
So we asked, do you believe Black women are shamed for their sexual liberation? And 89% of people polled agreed. We also asked, what signifies that a woman is sexually liberated? With 61% believing it's a combination of sexual confidence, freedom to have multiple partners, and dating multiple people simultaneously.
If you're confident and you're moving very calculated and it's in your brain and you know this is what I want to do because I want to do it and no one else is forcing you and you're not, operating under someone else's guys, then I think that you are sexually liberated.
A part of sexual liberation, too, is just educating yourself on what feels good and
Yeah.
not even thinking that you need a partner to experience ultimate pleasure.
So earlier we mentioned a tweet from sexpert Tayomi, and we also had the chance to speak with her about this very topic. Check out a clip from our conversation now.
The only way we can stop the shaming is for people to really embody and heal their relationships with their own sexuality. And that is kind of deep because you have so many factions and things that work towards repressing people's sexuality from religion.
Yes.
And then just like with Black people in general, we have this generational trauma from slavery that has never actually been addressed or healed. So our sexuality in Black culture, you know, the savior for us was like white Jesus, right?
Yeah.
So the church is very influential in our lives, and the church has very strict and condemning ideas around sexuality, right? And even if you are a person that saves it until marriage, by the time you get to marriage, you're so lost and confused, and you don't know what to do.
Ladies, what must we do to shift the conversation about our sexuality for the better?
I think the bottom line is you need to be comfortable with what you're doing, and you and your partner or partners or whatever are the only people who really need to know and be comfortable with what you're doing.
I think you need to be able to formulate your own decisions, allow yourself to experience what you want to experience, and don't let people dictate your sexual experience, because at the end of the day, you have to live your life. You have to deal with the fact if you've never had an orgasm, sis, come on over to the other side because it's glorious over here.
I think sexual liberation is knowing your body, being comfortable teaching someone else how to touch your body, being comfortable sharing that level of intimacy with another person, and still being able to feel whole, intact, and glorious in your humanity through all of it.
That brings us to the end of this week's episode. Thanks to my co-host, the always wise Kiara Kelly, the always beautiful Brandy Victorian, and you, our viewers. I'm Shamika Sanders, and by now it should be crystal clear. Life is so much better when you listen to Black women. See you next time.